welcome, everyone. And it's me again and the gang. And this is our weekly WeAwake meditation session. So thank you guys who've been with us from, since forever, for a long time since we've been doing this. And anybody new, welcome. It's good to have you here. And it is scientifically verified that when we meditate together, there is a field that's needed, a palpable field. And the pandemic and everything else taught us that we can do this long distance all over the planet in different places, but it's just like spirit doesn't seem to be bound by space or time, and they even found that in quantum physics. Something can go dink on this side of the universe and cause this other thing to go dink at the same time. How they figure this stuff out, I don't know, but that's what they say. So that's kind of amazing. And yeah, things are not reducible to all our materialistic, reductionistic cliches. Just doesn't work. It works for a lot of things and it's really helpful, but when you try to isolate it into that, it's just like it falls apart, or you start denying the data just to, make your worldview more comfortable. So I won't get on that, but let's see something did want to share. I did a podcast recently and commemorating January 24th, the invasion of Russia, the invasion by Russia of Ukraine, a completely innocent country who was, struggling to become a democracy and just wanted to be, left alone to their own devices. And Russians rolled in, and the Ukrainians, lo and behold, fought back and divided whiny West all of a sudden woke up and supported these brave people. So that's pretty cool. But I have a dear friend. She's a psychologist, Dr. Katerina Yasko, and she's been part of where I've been working with from the beginning of this thing, trying to support Ukraine and medical supplies and on and on. But she said something very interesting, that it seems that in Ukraine, the PTSD that you would be expecting from the horrendous violence, and can you imagine your life is going on, then your whole neighborhood starts shaking because rockets are coming in from Canada or something, or Mexico, wherever you are. Just be really, just horrible. And everybody knows people who've died and they've seen death and they've experienced it. And anyway, but she said that PTSD symptoms are not at all what you would expect it to be. And she said that the only thing that we can come up with is that purpose and meaning in your life, as well as a supportive community, somehow makes it easier. And we don't have purpose, or we don't have meaning, and we're just kind of, trying to figure out what to do next. And we just distract ourselves with all the goodies that our civilization has created, which is all fine and good. But while, we have more wealth and more things that the pharaohs and the Caesars of Rome would never have dreamed of, yet we are plagued with depression and suicide in our young people in the West. I'm talking United States specifically. And so all of that technology, that exterior stuff, does not fix the interiors. But what does? Purpose, meaning, and a supportive community. So we need to work on that. This is part of a community here, support. And I'll just ask you, we're gonna do HeartWave meditation. It's the third one. And anyway, it's a very powerful meditation. It's only 20 minutes, but I would just ask us to open our hearts during this for our purpose and our meaning. and from the support that the universe has for us, you know. And in mysterious ways, this can be support of loved ones who have passed, are not here in this dimension anymore. And there's all these things, and definitely in certain states of consciousness, we can see that there are other entities, working with us, and there's angels and all that stuff. Well, yeah, our ancestors saw that, and we can see that too under the right circumstances. There are those dimensions of reality that are very mysterious and can't be explained away with merely materialistic science, or they can be just denied, but it's there. So look for support and ask for help in order to do the best job you can while you inhabit this body and you're here on this planet, when there is great need for support, for wisdom, for action, for healing, for courage, for integrity, honesty, all of these things. And you'll be a better person for it. And we will be a better planet for it, a better family. And not just human beings, but all our brothers and sisters, all our sentient beings that we cohabit Mother Earth with. So I think that's good. So this is HeartWave, Midnight Ocean, track number 3. So sit up straight, relax your shoulders. It's good to focus on your heart. There's a lot of ways to meditate, but those of you who have been meditating for a while maybe have your own techniques, and the own techniques that have developed through the experience of your daily practice. So let's go there, go deep, find God, and bring it back. welcome back. And HeartWave, truly a lovely track. Very, very good. Very nice. And yeah, Ken Wilber has been a friend and a mentor and a supporter of my work. Really good to me, person, and good to us all. This incredible thing that he's channeled has come through him. I hadn't read Ken in a while because you got it right. And I picked up one of the books that I just opened, started reading. I think anyway, it was. I forget the name of the book, but anyway, it was just like if you've ever seen these pictures, the magical. You open the book and the light just blasts you. It's like, damn, holy cow! It's still there, as good as ever. And I think I need to go back and review all the stuff because it's really amazing. But one of the things that Ken said that really stuck with me, he said that the solution to all our problems that confront us as a human species or a human dysfunctional family are developmental. And I thought that, well, that's a bit simplistic. But I started thinking about it. I thought, right. And I'll just go to one of the things that I've been very involved in is the Ukrainian, the invasion of Ukraine, and just the targeting of civilian targets. I don't even know they can target. They don't aim that well, but they just fire all this stuff into civilian areas to try to horrify and I don't know, hurt the civilian people so much that they will stop fighting. And whereas the Ukrainian forces do target military targets, and it's a big difference ethically. But in the European history, which I've read a lot of, and it's very complex, going back, from the time of the 5th century Athens and onward, as Europe developed, there was nothing but a series of conflicts and wars on and on and on. You go to the 19th century, the main players, the Dutch, England, Spain, France, Austria-Hungarian Empire, all of these guys. And then, of course, 20th century. What a disaster. Or what an evolutionary shitstorm, I'd say. War One, millions died in these trenches. And then World War II, millions died on the battlefield and off the battlefield. And you lose track of the millions, lose track of the Russians that died, the millions of Ukrainians died from famines caused by Stalin's rule. Obviously, the Holocaust, the Jews, the Gypsies, gay people, anybody who didn't fit the Aryan ideal. Anyway, it was just horrible. And after World War II, Europe said, "Okay, guys, enough already. Can we just stop doing this stuff?" And there were dreamers who wanted to see a united Europe, to stop the incessant ongoing wars, and with the improvement of our technologies became ever more deadly, and we were much more effective at killing each other. So they said, no, we're not going to do that. And Europe changed its ways. Okay, and I don't think anybody that lives in Europe, at least kind of the western part, and largely what we used to call Eastern Europe, which is Europe now, to include Poland and the countries over there, fear that France is going to invade Spain, or that Germany's going to invade France, or that the Dutch are going to invade Britain, and that the Scandinavians are going to invade everybody, right? No, I mean, it's almost silly to talk about. Why? Because Europe has evolved to a level where that just becomes democracy, okay? And democracies don't attack each other by and large, all right? And they break down the barriers in their borders, and they compete in good ways, and it just changed everything. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Putin he's not at that level developmentally. He's like a pre-modern ruler or czar. And according to that model, he's just about run of the mill. What do you want to do? You want to conquer lands, expand your empire, enslave or whatever other countries, and then if you're really good, when you die, they'll call you the Great or something like that. Charlemagne, Carlos Magnus, the Great, and so you can evolve out of this stuff, all right, and that's why it's so important that the work that we do, those of us who are doing a spiritual practice, an integral practice, spiritual practice that includes all the essential parts, the body, the mind, the shadow, the interiors, and a spiritual place where we actually can connect in a conscious way with all things, just is the way that we have to go, okay? And we'll get over our uber competitive BS and start to actually realize we're just one human, albeit dysfunctional family that can actually become functional. And Thomas Jefferson, I was reading this recently, and yes, I'm aware of all the shadow stuff around Thomas Jefferson, but at times the light was coming through him. And he said, all men are created equal. And of course, we understand that to be all humans, not just males, we're created equal. What does that mean? He said, we dream of a aristocracy of achievement coming out of democracy of opportunity. Okay? That the level playing field as much as possible. And then we can go from there. Everybody who was qualified could go to Harvard or go to great universities. That's if you're, qualified to do that and you achieve. But nobody's left behind in just dire poverty. And maybe it's not your lifetime to, start an Apple or be president or this and that. You just want to be a human being and live in dignity and do your bit, right, for your family and your neighbors. It's okay too. But think about an aristocracy of achievement, not of skin color, not of what family you were born into, not what side of the fence you were on, but based on a democracy open to everyone opportunities. So that was pretty integral vision way back when. And those are kind of the genius things that got sparked when the United States started. And then the whole world pretty much followed in democracies. And even North Korea claims to be a democracy. It's like, seriously? Anyway, and there's a lot of authoritarian, and anyway, it seems to be there's a struggle in the world now between the democracies and the authoritarians, and I don't need to mention the names. So the work that we do on ourselves is important, not only as our individual growth into purpose and meaning, right? And capacity to achieve good, if not great things for all our brothers and sisters, all sentient beings. But I think that the pioneers of these higher levels of consciousness, and I know green progressives, they get gas when you say levels of consciousness because it looked like hierarchies. Okay, and a lot of you guys have heard this before, but it's important. Okay, and why would they be against hierarchies? Because hierarchies have often been hierarchies of privilege and oppression. Sure. That's very true. So when I said I was teaching this one time and people were kind of getting mad at me, and I changed it from hierarchies to expanding circles of care. You grow, your heart opens, and you begin to care more about others. And developmental psychology, which my friend and co-host on Deep Transformation Podcast, Roger Walsh, said that this developmental stuff that adults can develop is one of the most important things that's happened in psychology in the last 50 years. It is essential to know that. So as we grow, we care more. And there's a certain level, a traditional level, that we all have to go through. Nobody's born and runs, jumps up to the highest thing. No, you're born at square one, and you evolve in the spiral as you can. It helps if you're in a modern society to get to modernity pretty easily because there's a lot of support. But when you start pushing beyond that, it becomes a little more heroic. Yeah. So, I was saying the traditional levels, part of the characteristics of that is ethnocentrism, which means you like people that look and feel and talk like you more than you do people that are Auslanders, strangers. And that is just an evolutionary stage. And I imagine at one time in our evolutionary history, it was really important. It's important if you're a little tribe in the middle of, hostile environment and all this stuff, you really had to care about your people. And that became very important. And so all that to say is that we all have the seeds of racism in us, because ethnocentrism becomes the ground that racism starts from, and it's always my people, my race, my religion, whatever are better than yours, and therefore I can do whatever I want. And to you, because you're less human than all other Christians or all other Muslims or whatever it might be. So yeah, we do need to evolve, and at the same time, we need to confront the issues of our times. And for example, climate change. At a certain level, people just accept this. This is a crisis, it has to be dealt with. Prior to that, they think I don't know, they don't believe in it. They don't believe science because they don't use science and rationality as a way of ascertaining the truth. They just, it's something else. It's emotional, it's this or that or the other. So there we have it. And that's why we come together and do the work that we do. So yeah, keep working on it. And it's really good to know that there's higher levels than you're currently at, that you're not the top of the ethical, moral food chain. There's a lot above us. Keeps us humble and gives us a directionality in our practice and the way we live our lives and do it. And we can recognize, I have an ethnocentric part of me that fed poisonously could become racism, and often is. But we're all like that, not just white people. Okay, everyone has this. So that needs to be grown out of and through. And while you still care about your own people, your own family, the circle of your compassion and concern has expanded. And that's where we have to go, or we're not going to do very well, and we may not make it at all. So let's hope in the next 100 years, these wars, such as happening in Ukraine, will just be, wow, we used to really do that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Yes. And we still do, apparently. So, and again, a quote from Abraham Lincoln, allegedly, they said this: if you want to destroy your enemies, what do? Build more tanks, bigger nukes, faster planes? No, you make them your friends. If you want to destroy your enemies, you make them your friends. So let us open our hearts to one another and realize that at this point, Putin's not going to listen to us. But that is ultimate solution in these incessant wars of conquest and empire, is we have to start loving and caring about and making everyone our friends, because all people are created equal and should have equal opportunity to achieve and give at their highest level. And it takes a lot of work to get there, and develop systems and cultures that makes that more feasible and easier and almost not automatic, just something that many of us can achieve. And that has been a really long talk, and I thank you for sticking with me through this, and we love you, and thank you for showing up here. And yeah, keep practicing, keep working on yourself, and finding the inspiration and the creativity and the compassion and the courage and the beauty that it takes to do good and to do great things. So thank you.